Yes, we're on now.
Testing. Yep. Perfect timing.
Good evening, everyone. It is 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, September 25th, 2025. This is a regular meeting of the Governing Board of the Catalina Foothills School District. And on behalf of my fellow board members, I want to welcome everyone to this evening's meeting. Members of the public are attending both in person and remotely through YouTube Live. In a few minutes, I'm going to read the rules of order for public comment at governing board meetings. If you wish to make a comment remotely, you should have signed up using the Google form that's available under the YouTube Live description. If you don't see that link, you can refresh your YouTube live stream. If you are attending in person and you wish to speak, please fill out one of these purple request to address the board forms that's in the table in the back and hand it to our board secretary, Amy Sam. I'd ask everyone to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I read the rules of order for public comment at board meetings, I do want to alert our viewing audience and my fellow board members that we are going to table item 5.2 under new business this evening, which was the consideration of the gradual phase-out plan for the Mandarin Chinese immersion program. This was scheduled to be a first reading tonight. We learned after we posted the agenda that there is a family event this evening at Sunrise Drive Elementary School, and because that is a school that houses the Chinese immersion program, we wanted to provide the most opportunity for parents who have the most vested interest in that program to be able to come and speak or participate in our meeting. So we're going to pull that item for this evening. The first reading will be reset to 2 weeks from now, October 14th, and then the second reading will be 2 weeks after that, October 28th, thereby giving the public the full opportunity to address the board, as we usually do with 2 readings of items on the agenda. Okay, so with that, I will go back to item 1.3. Rules of order for public comment at governing board meetings. The governing board welcomes public comments at its meeting by providing 2 opportunities for the public to address the board. If your topic of interest is not on the agenda, you may address the board during the public comments time slot near the beginning of the meeting, or if the topic is on the agenda, you may speak just prior to the discussion of that agenda topic. In the event there is a public hearing, the opportunity to speak will be reopened. If you're joining remotely and wish to make a public comment, you should have already submitted the Google form provided with the YouTube link. For those attending in person, again, please hand that purple form, request to address the governing board, to our board secretary. The information that is requested on the form is required for our meeting minutes. Speakers will be called upon when it is your turn to address the board. For those attending remotely, you may choose to enable your camera. As a reminder to remote attendees who wish to speak, please unmute your microphone when called upon. Each speaker has 3 minutes to address the board. The sound of a buzzer indicates the end of your 3 minutes. In the event of a large number of speakers, the board may need to limit that time so that we can conduct the business that is on our agenda. By law, the board cannot discuss, consider, or vote on topics that are not on the agenda. This assures our community that they are aware of the topics that will be discussed this evening. If you wish to discuss a topic through written communication, board members' contact information can be found on the district website. We appreciate the community's attendance and comments at this meeting. And let me just add, even though we have pulled the agenda item about Chinese immersion, if anybody here or online wishes to make a comment on that topic, you are certainly welcome to do so during the regular public comment time. You don't have to wait 2 weeks. In other words, you don't have to wait 2 weeks in order to address the board on that topic. And so with that, I will open up our public comments. We have 1 request to address the board here in person, and I did see one that was online a few minutes ago. And I'll take that one first. If Lucy Hornby still wishes to speak, she did indicate that she wanted to speak on Chinese immersion, and she's here. Terrific. Ms. Hornby, whenever you're ready. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. And just as a point of clarification, because of the open meeting laws, we are not permitted to change the posted agenda once it's posted. That is why I announced at the beginning of this meeting that that item was going to be tabled and reset for 2 weeks for a first reading and then another 2 weeks. So our hope is that anybody in the community, whether you attend Sunrise Drive or not, will have ample opportunity to come and offer your comments about the Chinese immersion program. Just wanted to clarify that in terms of the agenda not changing. I know that was confusing for a lot of people, why a matter would still be on the agenda if it wasn't actually going to be discussed tonight. But again, we did that with the intent to promote the most amount of feedback and input that we could garner. So thank you. And our in-person speaker, you are welcome, speakers, there's two, are welcome to come to the podium. We have Amelia Nadeau, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and Zoe Patrick. Did I? Not quite?
That was pretty good.
Okay. Good. Okay, well, welcome, and you can begin whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Amelia Neto, and I'm the president of the Student Ran Club TPUSA.
I am Zoe Patrick, and I'm the vice president.
We know we had a complaint about our Instagram. Just so you guys know, we fixed that issue.
We are committed to identifying, educating, and training and organizing students to promote freedom-based qualities.
All right, goal is to educate students about the importance of freedom, free markets, limited government. Turning Point USA has expanded to 3,500 high schools and college campuses worldwide.
We will be participating in volunteering such as diaper drives, letters to veterans, and more. We are aware of the policies to have guest speakers, and we are going to try our best to have law enforcement speakers, TPUSA reps, and more. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here this evening. Just want to check one more time before I close public comments. I don't see anyone else online. I have no more requests to address the board form. So our public comment agenda item is closed, and we will move on to our consent agenda. Does any board member have any item that they wish to pull for further discussion?
I'm not pulling anything.
No, sorry.
Okay.
No.
I
Got to talk there. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. I am going to pull, Eileen, item 3.4. As to the remaining items, is there a motion?
I move that the governing board approve consent agenda items 3.1, the governing board September 9, 2025 regular meeting minutes as presented, 3.2, the expense voucher memorandum as presented, 3.3, the field trip request memorandum as presented, 3.5, the personnel memorandum as presented, 3.6, the acceptance with gratitude of the gifts and donations memorandum as presented, and 3.7, the bylaws for the family faculty organizations, booster clubs, and the CFSD Foundation for the 2025-2026 school year as recommended by the CFSD Business Office as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Seconds.
Having a motion and a second to pass those consent agenda items, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. With respect to item 3.4, that's the approval of the fundraising request memorandum. And the reason that I asked for it to be pulled is because, this is the memo where all the clubs we have to give board approval to the types of fundraising activities, what the activity is, the purpose, where it's taking place, what they expect to, the revenue they expect to generate. And one of the activities that's listed, one of the clubs that's listed is, where am I? Oh, did I do the wrong one? I did the wrong one. Oh my gosh. It
Is
wasn't
that the fundraising request that you
No.
want?
What was it?
Field trip memorandum?
field trip memorandum.
Okay.
I am so sorry. Can we go back and do, I really
If only
apologize
we
to
had
everybody.
Carol here.
I know,
She would
she
tell us
would-
exactly how to undo this.
I might get a call from her tomorrow.
You will.
Yeah.
So do you
I
want to
apologize
just
to
redo the
everybody.
consent motion all over again?
Can you? I'm
Okay,
so sorry.
3.3 is what you're
It's
going to pull.
correct.
Okay, so we're going to scratch that, and I'm going to redo the consent motion here. Give me a second to get back to it.
Thank you.
All right. I move the governing board approve consent agenda items 3.1, the governing board September 9, 2025 regular meeting minutes as presented, 3.2, the expense voucher memorandum as presented, 3.4, the fundraising request memorandum as presented, 3.5, the personnel memorandum as presented, 3.6, the acceptance with gratitude of the gifts and donations memorandum as presented, and 3.7, the bylaws for the family faculty organizations, booster clubs, and the CFSD Foundation for the 2025-26 school year as recommended by the CFSD Business Office as presented.
Thank you. There's a motion. Is there a second?
I will second that.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? This motion carries 5-0. Thank goodness it wasn't one of those like ginormous long ones that you've had to read sometimes. Okay, and again, my apologies. The reason that I pulled 3.3 is because listed among the organizations that are asking for permission to go on a field trip is the Model UN. And I pulled it because the last time we were here, 2 students spoke about concerns that, and they specifically addressed Model UN as not being adequately funded or not funded. I don't want to, I think I'm characterizing this accurately. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but there were questions about, I think there was a comparison to band. Why does band get to go to China and we, and other exotic places, and we have trouble funding something like Model UN? So I wanted to ask Dr. Bartlett for some clarification about, under this memo, Model UN is asking to do fundraising to support their conference in Washington, D.C., a 5-day conference. Well, there's 2 travel days, so it's probably a 3-day conference. And the fee is $1,000. So I would appreciate some clarification as to how that works.
Okay, so Model UN is a club.
Okay.
And so as a club, they are not funded through district M&O dollars except for the sponsor. So we pay the sponsor's stipend,
The teacher sponsor.
the teacher sponsor's stipend.
Right.
So any trips that they take, they do have to do fundraising or tax credit or, so they do they charge a fee to be in the club, so that's part of it. The fee, the tax credit donation, gifts and donations, and then fundraisers. So when it's a faraway trip, it's of course more expensive for the family, so they have to do more fundraising. If it's a local trip, we try to offset that as much as we can so that the cost is very minimal on families. So, but that's the difference. Band is a class, and so the district does sponsor NAU Band Day because that is a class that the students take.
The requirement.
It's a requirement.
But the trip abroad or to Thanksgiving Day parade in New
Those are
York
all
or-
optional trips for families.
And we do see fundraising memos.
And they do fundraisers just like a regular club would do.
Okay.
But they're not a club.
Right.
Band is not a club, it's a curricular program at our schools.
And so how do they access tax credit dollars? How is that decision made?
It's based on need. So if a family comes forward and they have a financial need, we try to go 50-50, and we use the program of the greatest need
Okay.
account for tax credits.
And can someone make a targeted tax credit contribution to a family for a specific purpose?
We don't
Just
do
the
that.
greatest need.
The greatest
Okay.
need. Mhm.
Gotcha.
So we can determine that.
You can make a targeted tax credit donation to specific programs.
Programs, yes.
Correct.
But not a kid.
But not a
Correct.
child.
Okay, gotcha.
And
Except for Kindergarten Plus, you can. For Kindergarten Plus, it can go to a specific child.
what's tuition?
Correct.
So, okay,
Well, it's a tax credit that they can
okay.
apply for towards their tuition.
And I assume fundraising for either curricular activity or club is also, there are accommodations made for students who may need financial assistance.
Correct. That's what that 50-50 with the tax credit and the program of the greatest need. So they would contact the sponsor, let them know, and the sponsor would talk with the principal about that.
And I assume at some point their fundraising efforts will show up to be
Yes.
approved?
Yes, they will be. They will be approved.
Because I didn't see them on here, but on tonight's. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate that explanation.
You're welcome.
That was my question. Any others? Okay, then a motion, please.
I have to get back to my motion. I'll be there shortly. 3.3. I move the governing board approve the field trip request memorandum as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. There's been a motion and a second in favor of approving item 3.3, not 3.4, we did that already. Approval of the field trip request memorandum. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, moving on to our unfinished business, we have 4 items. The first of which is item 4.1. Approval of revisions to policy GCQF, discipline, suspension, and dismissal of professional staff members. This is a second reading presented by Associate Superintendent Mindy Westover.
Good evening. This is the second reading of revision to policy GCQF, discipline, suspension, and dismissal for professional staff members. Following the first reading, there were no additional recommended changes. These changes are recommended to bring this policy into alignment with Senate Bill 1659, which amends ARS 15350. This amendment establishes new statutory requirements for schools and school districts when requesting information from the Department of Education regarding allegations of misconduct by employees who have resigned or otherwise separated their employment. Accordingly, a new section has been added to the policy addressing provisions of the State Board of Education. The revisions specify the following: so that a school district, a school or school district that employs or is considering the employment of an individual may request information from the State Board of Education regarding allegations of misconduct applicable to both certified and non-certificated individuals. Additionally, the State Board of Education is required to provide such information unless the disclosure would impede an active investigation, and in such case, the information must be released once the investigation has been concluded. These revisions ensure that the district policy remains consistent with the state law and current regulations and guidelines. And with that, I'll take any questions you might have regarding this one.
There were no changes from the first reading, but I did have one question, which is it our standard practice in hiring that we contact the Department of Education for?
We do check on fingerprints.
Yeah.
And we check on certificates. And so if there was a investigation going on, it would show us on those, on the portal when we look up those items. So that is a normal practice that we do in regards to fingerprints and certification.
Thank you.
That wouldn't cover non-certificated staff.
Because they have fingerprint clearance cards, yes.
Oh, it does, okay.
There's an educator lookup as well
Yeah.
that they have. So you look up, for certificated and non-certificated. The non-certificated is a recent addition.
Okay. And if I remember the upshot of this policy change correctly, this actually will provide us with more information in terms of not just that there is an investigation or a complaint, but information about what that investigation or complaint might be unless it would impede the investigation, correct?
Yes.
So it actually helps us a little bit more.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I move that the governing board approve the revisions to policy GCQF, discipline, suspension, and dismissal of professional staff members as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve agenda item 4.1. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go too far. Agenda item 4.2 is also a second reading. This is approval of revisions to policy IKF, graduation requirements, presented by Executive Director of Curriculum and Assessment, Cheryl Castro.
Thank you. So presented for your approval tonight are the revisions to policy IKF, graduation requirements. House Bill 2540 amended ARS 15741 to include requirements regarding high school assessments conducted by a source outside of the school district and allowances for a written assessment. The policy has been updated to ensure compliance with these new requirements. 2 sections were added to the policy. One was assessments on page 49 and written assessments on page 50 of the packet. That's pages 4 and 5 of the policy. So back to assessments on page 4/49. If an enrolled high school student takes a nationally recognized assessment that's adopted by the State Board of Education and administered outside the district, the student or the student's parent legal guardian may submit the student's official score report to the district. Upon receiving the official score report, the district is required to record the score in the student's file, report the score to the State Board of Education and Department of Education, and if the student or student's parent or legal guardian submits an official score report before the date on which the school administers the tests, allow the student to opt out of participation in the assessment. If a student opts out, the district shall use the data from the school's official score report for the student's achievement test data. The only change made to the policy since the last reading is on page 5, which is page 50 of the packet. And you'll see on the bottom of page 4 that we struck through a section that you noted was a little bit confusing, and then we rewrote it to read, students cannot opt out of the collection of non-test indicator data or other information that's collected during district administered assessments. That's the only change that was made to the policy since the last reading. And if you go on to written assessments on page 5/50, the district may administer the statewide assessment in the form of a written test if, 1, a written test is required pursuant to an IEP program or Section 504 plan, 2, to accommodate special circumstances. We discussed those last week about health-related things, students with concussions, etc. And 3, for religious purposes, or 4, on request by a student's parent or legal guardian. And with that, if you have questions, I can respond to those.
Again, the upshot of this is the ACT.
Yes.
This is what we're really talking about. If students are taking ACT outside of our normal test administration and have a score they want to submit, they can.
That's correct.
That rewrite is much clearer.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was like, it makes sense. Then I read it again, and Denise and I were like, no, it doesn't make sense.
But it does, but what you,
Now it makes sense.
No,
Now it's very
the
clear.
revision is very clear.
Yeah, so thank you for pointing that out.
If there aren't any other questions of Ms. Castro, we can take a motion. I will take a motion.
I move the governing board approve the revisions to policy IKF, graduation requirements, as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. There's been a motion and a second to approve agenda item 4.2. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 4.3 is another second reading. Actually, all of these are second readings. That's why they're unfinished business. And it is approval of revisions to the district's Arizona State Seal of Arts Proficiency Program description. Ms. Castro.
Thank you. So presented for your approval tonight is a revision to the district's Arizona State Seal of Arts Proficiency Program description. No changes have been made since the first reading. The Arizona State Seal of Arts Proficiency recognizes high school students who demonstrate high levels of proficiency in the arts education standards through personal expression or creative experiences. Students at CFHS may earn the Seal of Arts Proficiency by successfully completing the seal in one of three ways: either 4 credits in one artistic discipline, that's music, theater, visual arts, media arts, or 3 credits in one artistic discipline and 1 qualifying career and technical education credit, or 2 credits in one artistic discipline and 2 credits in a qualifying CTE class. Students are also required to earn a final GPA of 3.0 to 4.0 in each qualifying arts CTE course, and they must submit an artistic statement, artistic reflection, capstone project, log sheet of arts extracurricular activities, and artifacts of the design process. The only change to the program description in addition is the addition of 3 qualifying CTE courses, which are Film and TV 1, Film and TV 2, and Film and TV 3.
Thanks, Cheryl. I would just like to say that I think this is a fantastic opportunity to extend the seal, and it's a wonderful option for our arts kids. Definitely goes a long way towards securing scholarships in higher education and opening up doors in higher education and beyond. So adding 3 more classes to the curriculum, I think, is fantastic. So I really appreciate you and your team's efforts to make that happen.
Thank you for your support.
You ready for a motion?
Sure. Unless there's any
Unless
other
anyone else has.
other questions, comments? Okay, we're ready for a motion.
I move the governing board approve the revision to the district's Arizona State I move the governing board approve the revision to the district's Arizona State Seal of Arts Proficiency Program description as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the revisions to the State Seal of Arts Proficiency Program, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank
you
you.
so much. And finally, item 4.4 is the approval of superintendent's proposed performance goals for the 2025-2026 school year. This is, again, a second reading. Dr. Bartlett.
Thank you. So the goals that are attached are recommended to receive the priority attention, although this is just a small piece of the everyday work of the superintendent. Those are outlined in our policy, CBA. The job description outlines the priority operational expectations in several work categories. So these goals constitute a portion of the work that we will be doing as a team this school year. After the first reading of the goals, there was a new goal written and one goal that was revised. I will go over those. One of the goals that was a new goal was underneath the engagement area. So if you, the new engagement goal is we're going to increase the percentage of students in grades 3 through 12 who report feeling engaged in their learning and confident in their ability to succeed. And we didn't have percentages yet because we're going to do a pre-test, a pre-survey, and then a post. But it's going to be measured by those pre and post survey results. That's to address that middle area of our deep learning goals, raise the engagement of students so that they are highly motivated to set and achieve increasingly challenging goals for deep learning. So a couple of the action steps that we will be proposing is to strengthen our instructional practices by implementing engaging student-centered instructional strategies that promote collaboration, inquiry, and problem solving. And another action step is to implement strategies to build student confidence to engage in their challenging work. So that sense of belonging and that their work is rigorous and challenging for them, and that they report feeling confident in being able to complete rigorous and challenging work, and that they are confident in their ability to do so. So that's the new goal in the area of engagement. We did maintain the goal for the in attendance in that area, as we also feel that attendance is a piece of that engagement that we really needed to maintain. Having students come to school and engage in school is the first step to getting them engaged. So we did maintain that student attendance goal as well. So this is an additional goal that we've added to the list of goals that I presented last board meeting. The second change is a revision in our area of the community outreach and awareness to foster strong relationships with our community. If you remember, we had the goal of publishing 36, and the discussion was, is it really about the publishing? Well, no, it really wasn't. It was about outreach to a larger community. So we've come together, Mrs. Barbaric and I, and we want to increase the community outreach and awareness and strengthen our relationships with families by registering at least 450 new community members to receive Parent Square posts to our community group, as measured by the number of verified registrations. To do that, we are reaching out to homeowners associations and our realtors, and we have proposed that myself and Julie would come and speak to those organizations and about the district, and encourage them to sign up for our Parent Square posts. And then, of course, the second part of that is then we're going to be publishing those stories that we talked about the last time, so that they are engaged with it. We currently have 50 members in our community group.
So this is a huge goal.
So this is a huge goal. She wanted to make it 10,000. I said, well, okay, let's start with, let's get 500. Okay, so that's our goal, to get 450 new registrations. But going to the homeowners associations, we think, some of them are very, very large. I think you belong to a very, very large one. And then going to speak to them about what the district offers, talking about all the great programs that we have. We think that outreach is going to encourage them to want to know more. So those are the two changes to the goals. Of course, the other goals have stayed the same, which is our academic goals and reducing the gap in our achievement with, by 2030, we want to get 80% of all of our students in all reading, math, and science to proficiency or higher as measured by the state assessments. We want to maintain our teacher retention rate of 86% or better, and we know we have gone above that or below that, so we'd like to maintain it at 86%. We want to reduce the number of off-campus suspensions by 10% as part of our improving our school climates. Our attendance, we're going to increase the average daily attendance by 2% at each school, and then we're going to increase CFSD's non-resident student open enrollment applications by 5%. So with that, I can take any questions you might have about the goals.
The survey that we contemplate to measure student engagement, where will that survey come from?
We've looked at several. There is a panorama survey, which is what we've taken for our climate survey, but we've looked at those questions and we didn't really feel like they were aligned with what we were looking at. So our administrative team is going to be looking at a proposed set of questions that we have come up with, and proposing other questions too. So it's going to be one of our own surveys, because we just couldn't find a survey that really measured what we were really after. So.
And what are you contemplating in terms of the timing of this? This is one of our year-long goals, so.
The pre-survey is going to go out the week of October 24th.
Soon.
Yes, we have at our next administrative team meeting, we will be looking at those questions, and I've already proposed this to them, so they know this is coming.
Yeah.
I've proposed that we look at the questions at that administrative team meeting, and then get the survey ready to go out that following week. And then the post-survey will be at the end of the year.
At the end.
And we're only doing 3rd through 12th graders, obviously.
3 through 12.
3 through 12. Kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, taking a survey is a little less reliable. They love school. They're engaged. They,
Generally, yeah.
you know.
And I assume this would be a mandatory survey for our
Yes.
students to complete? They
Yes.
can't opt out, or,
No,
I mean, I
we will be
assume
doing
if
it
somebody
during-
really objected
Yeah, we'll be doing it during a class period.
during class period.
So, and we've have different questions. The same information will be collected, but they're written at different levels. So we have a more,
Obviously.
yeah, we have different questions for our 6 through 12 and our 3 through 5. It'll be broken up that way.
And I know that there are some statutory provisions we have to be concerned about with surveying our students.
There are,
So I assume that this would be done as well in conjunction with any legal counsel that we might need to seek to make sure we're within those guidelines.
we have, and there are 14 protected areas that
Yeah.
on a survey. This survey
Won't be any
Won't.
of those.
inhibit any of those. It won't cross over any of those. This is going to be a self-assessment really of their students and how they feel about school.
So follow-on question, is there any parental notification required for survey,
No,
for this
not
kind
for
of
this
survey?
survey. The superintendent can give a survey. If it doesn't, the only notification you need is if you're going to use one of those protected areas. Then you have to get their permission. We're not doing that.
And presumably the responses will be anonymous by
Yes.
grade level, correct?
Yeah, by grade level in school, so that we can intervene. We have to know, I mean,
course.
we contemplated with even their names, but we didn't want to,
Yeah.
Well, we'd certainly be above the 10, which is what we generally use for statistics in
Yeah.
our grade reports
Sure.
and all of that result.
we just
if
want to make
everybody's
sure
taking the test,
that
if
we can
everybody's taking-
identify the students who aren't feeling,
Right.
you know, confidence and engaged.
Confident, yeah.
Yeah,
Anonymous in this situation is warranted.
yes.
Um,
We're going to maintain
Yeah.
anonymity, just the grade level in the school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Do you have an idea, I mean, I understand why there's blanks for the percentages, but do you have an idea of whether you're looking for like 2%, 5%, 10%, or does it depend on where the first survey?
It will depend, but I can't, 5% is usually significant, right, is what you go for. It's going to really depend on where we start.
Huh.
Of course, we'd like 100%.
Right, of course.
We would like 100% self-reporting that they feel engaged and confident in their learning. So we're going to set it at a high percentage, but it'll depend on where we come in at too.
You're not necessarily just saying you want an increase of X percent. You're looking at the end goal of
Yeah,
total number.
yeah, we'd like to get all of our students.
Okay. Are there any other questions about anything in these goals, not just the new goal and the revised goal, but all of, any of the goals that have, I mean, Dr. Bartlett didn't, re-present her PowerPoint,
Which is
but,
fine.
which is fine, but, any questions,
Comment?
please?
I'm one of those 50 people.
Okay.
That's the first thing I signed up for after my daughter
You're a unicorn
graduated.
because you get governing board and as a
Yes.
community member.
Yes,
Okay.
it is delightful to see in my personal email the stories about CFSD. So
Good.
Oh, good.
I'm very pleased to see this goal. I love it, and I think it is. I'm excited to see if we can get there.
I am too.
I love the idea of presenting to community groups, HOAs, real estate groups. I think that's just an excellent idea. And I think both you and Julie would be dynamite presenters. I don't know if you contemplate going, with additional presenters besides that, but I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
I can just make one little side comment to that. Our HOA, which is not huge, but has a lot of district families in it, actually had in their last newsletter a little half page on, how bond dollars are working for you.
Nice. That's great.
That was, unrelated to this, unprompted by any of this, but just driven by the interest within our community, having so many parents there. So that's maybe an indicator for the level of interest more broadly in the district.
Right. And it's also, I mean, it's great to give, to try to promote the opportunity for people who are residents who, by vast majorities support our schools, but may not have kids in our schools anymore, or may not know, why every real estate ad says CFSD schools or what public performances they can go to, or, I think it's great to reach out to all, I know that you're talking about HOAs within the district and even outside of the
Yes.
district, but wouldn't that be great to get people who are residents to really understand what's happening in our schools?
And
It's great.
Julie has already started to go to the realtor's office, and the one that she got a great reception from was Caldwell. They have 200 brokers.
Oh my gosh.
So we
Nice.
gave them
That's
200
fantastic.
flyers, and they want us to come speak, so.
Oh, that's great.
Wonderful.
That's great. Well, it's a perfect marriage,
Yes.
because obviously they use CFSD to
Right.
sell their houses.
Correct.
They should know what we offer.
That's exactly.
When you say you gave 200 flyers, the flyers are,
Our fast facts.
okay, is
Yeah,
that
the fast facts. The
the new
two-sided,
one?
the new two-sided.
That's great.
Yes.
Excellent.
I would just like to comment and say thank you for taking on board our feedback at the last meeting. Really appreciate your willingness and your team's willingness to continue to work on these goals. I'm also want to call out, I know we really challenged you in these two specific areas, or in these two areas specifically, sorry, to really up-level the goals and to really make them visionary and what's sort of like aspirational. Thank you very much. I had a goldfish moment there. Aspirational, and you certainly embraced that. So again, thank you for you and your team's hard work there, and very much looking forward to the mid-year performance review when we get to dive into this again, to see how your team is tracking against these. And again, it's not necessarily about achieving each and every one. It's about the trying and the effort and really setting those high-level goals that we're going to go after, right? That we feel united in our belief that these are the goals that are going to enable us to achieve and deliver upon our strategic objectives. Thank you.
Fantastic.
So with that, are you ready for a motion, Madam President? I move that the governing board approve the superintendent's performance goals for 2025-2026 as presented. The progress toward and/or achievement of these agreed-upon goals will be the basis for governing board consideration of and action on the 2025-2026 performance pay component of the superintendent's contract.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the superintendent's proposed performance goals. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. That was the easy part. Now you have the hard part.
We've been working them.
I know.
We have been working them for a while.
Moving on then to our new business, item 5.1 is consideration of revisions to policy GCQ. Didn't we just do this?
It's GDF.
GDFA, it's slightly different, like
What are
order
staff
of the,
qualifications and requirements?
yeah.
You're looking at 4.1.
I'm not looking at 4.1.
The
No,
memo
I'm telling you, it's wrong in the
memo is
book.
wrong.
It's wrong in the book.
In the board book, it's
Okay.
wrong?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Is the title wrong? Can you read that
title.
for
It's
me?
the title.
Just read the title for me.
This,
Thank you.
I will. So this is policy GDFA, and it is a first reading for support staff qualifications
see.
and requirements, fingerprint requirements.
I see. The body of the cover memo is correct. It's just the item's title. Sorry for anybody out there
We'll
who's
correct that.
confused along with me about that.
I just saw that this afternoon.
Yeah,
so.
it's fine. We're form over substance people at this table, so
Okay, so this is policy
Yes.
GDFA. It is a first reading of support staff qualifications and requirements for fingerprint requirements. It is revised to specify individual requirements to obtain identity verified prints, which are IVFP fingerprint clearance cards, along with applicable exceptions. Additionally, language is incorporated to reflect our current practices regarding the requirements for fingerprint clearance cards for support staff. So the changes are as follows. So a new paragraph has been added requiring that all non-certificated personnel or non-paid personnel who are not parent or legal guardians and who work directly with students must obtain a fingerprint clearance card as a condition of employment. There are 2 exceptions that are identified. Non-certificated personnel who do not work at a school site and volunteers who serve during the school day. I'm gonna stop there if there are any questions on that part.
Yeah, I'll ask a question on that one.
Go ahead, of course.
Can you speak to, first of all, an example of a non-certificated person who does not work at a school site?
Yes.
And then I have a second question as well, but we'll do that
So
one
for
first.
example, any of our support staff that work at the district office, such as Amy Sams or my administrative assistant, bus mechanics, accounting personnel, so they do have to have their fingerprints, but they don't have to have IVFP cards.
Right, thank you. And then can you also speak to volunteers who serve during the school day as well?
So that may be a volunteer that's helping like on the playground, or they might be volunteering in the classrooms, in the libraries, things such as that. We do have volunteers that volunteer after school hours, such as coaches, and they do. They are required to have fingerprint clearance cards.
And so what about volunteers who, can you speak more about which types of volunteers are required and which are not? And so, because I'm presuming it's not as simple as like during school, after school hours or anything like that. So how is that determination made?
All of hours that are during the school day that are involved during the school day do not have to have cards or fingerprint requirements. But we do go a step above. So according to the state, volunteers don't have to have fingerprint clearance cards at all. We go above and require our coaches that are after school sponsors to have a fingerprint clearance card. So this is something in our policy that we go above and beyond, and that's why you see the difference between a during the day and an after school, because we feel like our coaches that are directly working, even if they're volunteers, should have a fingerprint clearance card. During the school day, they're obviously supervised with other staff members around them, but they are volunteering. We're not paying them, so requiring them to pay for that, we have not done at this point. They do, but our coaches, we really feel like that is an area. It doesn't have to just be coach. It could be a volunteer with our band programs or any of the after-school programs.
Okay,
So
great.
I always thought the distinction was if you were a parent of the student and you volunteered, you didn't have to have a fingerprint card. But if you were a volunteer that didn't have any connection with any student, that those people were fingerprinted.
Now, they are fingerprinted, but they don't have to have, there's
There's a difference between the card,
Okay.
the IVP
Yes.
card,
Okay,
and a background check.
okay.
So the IVP card is a federal, I mean, they check
Gotcha.
all of those. With the background check, it's a local background check. And you don't get a card that has clearance, that has a fingerprint clearance, but you have a background check. So we do roll their prints, and we do a background check on them.
And how is this different? Is this policy change different than what we've been doing?
We've just updated the policy to
Yes.
reflect our practice.
To reflect our practice.
Gotcha.
So there are new parts to it, but essentially we're
already
updating
doing
to
it.
reflect.
We have been
Yes.
doing
Yes.
And again, the difference between the IVF card is.
IVP.
IVP, sorry.
IVF is different.
IVP. Sorry, too many words here. Too many letters. Those cards are ran through DPS, and those prints stay with DPS. So they're taken by DPS, they stay with DPS, versus when we roll a fingerprint for a background check, those actually, yes, they go to, but they're not actually in the,
Not the
Database.
system at that
yes,
point.
yes.
Yes.
So there is a higher level of security with those cards. But all of our volunteers do roll. They do have prints.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm
It's okay.
slow today.
It's a very complicated.
So in the policy, we say that personnel who volunteer during the school day and are not paid employees do not have to obtain a fingerprint clearance card. However, what I'm hearing is that they are required to pass a fingerprint. They are required to submit fingerprints, and
Which is the very first
background
part
check.
of that policy. So if you look at the policy GDFA, the very first paragraph specifically states that they have to have fingerprints, not fingerprint IVP clearance cards, but fingerprints. So all of these individuals have to have fingerprints. It's just we go a step further and require some of them to actually required to have the IVP cards.
okay.
But the policy doesn't make that distinction. No, it does
It does.
later, down on page 2. Okay, I see what you're saying. So the first part of the policy on pages 1 and 2 applies only to fingerprinting, and then the second part is the IVP clearance card.
Yes.
Who has to take,
Yes.
have that, okay.
And in the policy, the first paragraph refers to fingerprints, then you see the 2 exceptions,
I see.
and then the exceptions, and then you see about the yellow, the change there, is that we clarified that there are certain positions that we are going to require an IVP card for,
I see.
and the exceptions to the cards.
So the 2 exceptions that we just talked about pertain only to fingerprinting in general.
Cards. They refer to they refer to fingerprint clearance cards, so the IVP cards.
No, the 2 exceptions you first spoke of.
The
non-certificated
non-certificated who do
personnel.
not work at a school site and the personnel who volunteer during the school day who are not paid employees.
They
Those
still have fingerprint background checks
Right,
done.
that's why they're in
They
the-
do not have
I see.
IVP cards,
Okay.
IVP cards.
Oh, I see. So when I'm sorry. So when you're referring in the larger paragraph that's highlighted before the bulleted point,
Yep.
where you say they obtain a fingerprint clearance card, what you actually are referring to there is specifically that IVP clearance card. It may help to identify the IVP card as
Fingerprint
such
clearance
throughout
card.
the policy,
Okay.
I think.
I agree. 'cause
I agree.
I'm having a
It
little
is-
bit of trouble following
Okay.
the organization of this policy.
It has been, in fact, that whole element was left out previously, but we added it back in
I see.
because we felt like we needed to ensure that our practices were in there. So
Yes.
I will add the
Okay,
IVP
thank
portion
you.
of
I
that,
think that
which
might help.
Okay, and then I'm gonna move on to the next part.
Right.
So there was,
Just
go ahead. Mhm.
this
No, you're not gonna move on to the next
discussion-
part.
This
All good.
discussion of what the difference is between just a fingerprint background check and
Yes.
an IVP card.
Yep.
I think would be helpful at the top of
I
this
agree. As
policy.
an introduction. I agree, as an
That there's
introduction.
2 different levels of, and then who
Sure.
these levels apply
Okay.
to and not, and then what are the exceptions? It just seems to me, it makes more sense when you're talking about it, but I get none of that from reading this.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, it's
No,
like,
it's okay.
it seems like it's a bigger rewrite than this, maybe. A reorg.
And it is, we've definitely tried compared to what we received from the ASBA.
I do want to say something. The first paragraph that's
Mhm.
highlighted in yellow on the first page, that begins with the district requires. I've read that thing 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
And it's missing a word somewhere and like towards the end of that.
One sentence.
Yes.
The whole paragraph is one sentence.
Yes, and
It
then,
is.
then we have period, except for the following, colon. I think it needs to be short, newspaper article written, like shorter sentences and more to the point, because I couldn't make sense of that whole.
I mean, essentially, it took me a while to even go through this, so
Yes,
I'm
yeah,
with you
yeah.
guys. It is not as
Seen a
clear as
word
mud.
somewhere.
Right.
I want to be clear, though, that the very first paragraph that is not highlighted, it's the same thing. It specifically says everyone is required to be fingerprinted for the most part. Volunteers.
Right.
So the
And then
fingerprint
there's
element.
only exceptions. Everybody.
And I
but
can
these two.
maybe even just add a title that will help see the
Sure. I
difference
I think some
there.
subheads
Yeah.
would be really helpful in this policy.
I agree.
Um,
Okay.
Yeah,
And
this is
again,
a,
what's the difference between fingerprinting and IVP?
and the card,
And the-
exactly.
the whole distinction that the IVP stays in the law enforcement system, fingerprinting cards don't. I don't know that it's important to point that out, but that's what helps me understand the difference between these two levels of
Yeah.
clearance.
Okay.
I don't know that
We can work on some of that.
I don't know that you want to make representations about what's retained,
I hear
where
you,
it's
but
retained.
just
But I
something
agree
that will
with you.
tell us what the difference
Right, I agree. There's
is.
between a fingerprinting for
Higher
background check
level or-
purposes
yeah.
versus IVP purposes. That,
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
The way the policy is written, the difference is whether it just says fingerprints
Yeah.
or card.
Right.
That's it.
Got it.
And that is such a small little
Difference.
detail.
Yeah.
It makes
that-
it hard to
that
read
ca-
this.
Yeah, and I'm with, I mean,
Okay.
Denise, I talked about this for weeks, trying to get this situated.
Yeah.
So we'll redraft, and I had many of the same questions that you had, and we're trying to add in more detail to reflect what we're doing.
Yep.
Which,
So yeah, to summarize the ask, I think is, this one needs a complete rewrite. Okay, so instead of trying to
Yeah.
edit or amend or what have you, the ask is to do a complete rewrite on this one, because it's important, as are all of our policies, and in its current form, it just isn't making sense. It's just not clear enough. So very much looking forward to the second and probably the third reading
oh God,
on
Go
this
an
one.
IKF it.
Yeah.
okay. I'm going to go ahead and just talk about the other changes that are
that's fine.
involved in this. There
That's fine.
was added language that authorizes the district to release the results of a background check or communication with the fingerprint clearance card has been issued or denied, or another school district, essentially if another school district is asking us, we're allowed to release that information. On either the fingerprints, background check, or the IVP card. That is new. That was new part. Clarifying language was inserted to ensure that the correct exhibit, GDFA, E, is consistently cited. So in the original policy, it has all of the offenses listed, but ours weren't listed, so we just made sure that it was cited appropriately. And then a detailed list. Now this is the new part. The detailed list is now specifying the individuals required to obtain an IVP or fingerprint clearance card, including non-certificated employees who provide direct services to pupils with or without certificated supervision. And 2 exceptions are included. That is participants in state-approved teacher preparation programs who do not engage in Arizona field experience or student teaching. So these are individuals who never actually come onto our campuses to deal directly with kids. They may be in online programs.
Okay.
Individuals who already have a set of identity verified fingerprints on file with DPS. So in other words, if they have an IVP card, we're not going to also make them do fingerprints.
Gonna take that one.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Sorry, I need you to rewind. If I heard you correctly, an exception is teachers who have online interaction?
Student teachers.
Yeah, but student teachers who have online interaction with students?
So if we were engaged, and we're not engaged with any programs that have online student teaching, but that would be an exception that the state has identified in the statute.
Which I find a little astounding.
Yes.
Or,
Yes.
well, the other thing is, it says here that if they so they go to the U of A for their coursework, but they're going to do their student teaching in another state. We're not going to require them to have a fingerprint clearance card in our state. That's what that says.
I see.
If they go to another, because it says they do not participate in field experience or student teaching in this state.
Yeah. I'm just not even sure why that has to be in our policy, because we don't do online, and if they're not doing their student teaching in
Yeah,
our
it
state,
probably
we're never gonna
doesn't.
be darkening
Yeah,
our
we can
door,
probably
but
remove
it
that.
doesn't hurt to have it there, I guess.
And this language is straight from the statute?
Yes,
Yes.
Wow,
Leave it to the legislature.
right?
most of this is, by the way.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure.
And then individuals who already have the IVP on file. We're not gonna require them additionally to do
it
roll
again.
fingerprints.
And we know that
then-
they have it on file, right? I
Yes.
mean,
Is there an
Yes.
expiration date of that?
Um,
Presumably there is, because somebody could do something.
cards that you do have to renew
6 years for an
Yeah.
IVP card, you have 6 years, and then you have to renew them.
But we have other policies that if you get accused of a crime or something, you have to come forward and tell us.
We
It's a
also
honor
get
system, but-
notified
And you get notified.
if there is a person who is arrested,
And they have
and
this
it's
card.
reported
Okay.
to the, yes, their IVP card is reported, and it gets deactivated until that situation is cleared, and then we get notified that their card has been deactivated.
And part of the IVP is the prints stay with DPS.
right.
So we wouldn't require them to re-roll prints because the prints were already there.
Right.
So we would actually, if their card was expired, they would have to renew that card prior to any
They don't have
employment.
to
Right.
redo the
anyways.
prints.
Yeah,
So
right.
That doesn't change.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Jacqueline, did you have a question?
I'm just trying to understand.
Okay. I wanted to give you a chance if you did.
Thank you.
It is confusing, but I know we are going above the statutory requirements in our district with fingerprint clearance cards. And so that's, I think that needs to be really clear about which the rolling of the prints we do for everybody.
For our volunteers who are maybe after-school coaches, do we pay for the process for them?
No.
Oh, even though we don't pay them? Is it expensive?
It's $67 for the card.
67?
But we don't require the cards of
No,
volunteers.
22.
Other than the
They see it as
after-school
something-
coaches and stuff.
It's $22 for them to get it rolled and a background check.
But we are asking for the cards from volunteers who are after school.
Yes. After-school coach
Well,
programs.
because
And-
many of our volunteer coaches
Are also your teachers.
go into move into a paid position sometime during the year.
Eventually.
So it's just easier that they have the card at all times, so they don't have
Right.
to.
And we have the right to require that. It's just by law, it's not required, but we as a district are
We
requiring
require it,
that.
I'm just thinking if we're doing it for someone who's not getting paid, we might want to think about paying for it for them, but.
It is consistent, though, with local programs that they require their volunteer coaches to
right.
pay for it themselves, for
Right.
example. So there's a degree of consistency there, at least within the community.
And we don't pay for our certificated personnel
To do it.
to do it either. That
Correct.
is part of their certification
part of their
process.
certification, yeah.
So I think it's consistent with how we handle other
Okay.
individuals, yeah. And then finally, in the final section, there is a title, Required Employment Processes, that has been added to the concluding section for greater clarity in organization. What I hear is the first few paragraphs, we need to do a rewrite of.
Yes, please.
A little bit of reorg. Thank you.
I think that would help.
Thanks.
Okay,
Thank
we'll do
you.
that and bring it back. And I'm still gonna shoot for just 2 readings.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to invite Ms. Castro, aren't we at 5.2, back to the podium?
No,
because
that's
we
tabled.
Oh, we pulled
Tabled
it,
that.
5.2, sorry. I was just going merrily along. We're on to discussion and reports. Item 6.1 is a report by board members who attended the Pima County Collaborative meeting last Monday. That was Jacqueline, Tom, myself, and we were there with Dr. Bartlett. So Would someone like to share?
Well, if you also attended the law conference,
conference.
you just got a rerun.
Oh, okay.
But
But I
this,
didn't, so it was good for
right,
me.
so it was
Yeah.
good for you. The overall gist is that a group of stakeholders, including school districts and the ASBA and others, got together, sued the state, saying that the way schools were funded was unconstitutional, and won the lawsuit. And so I think the big overriding question was what next? What will
Right.
this actually fix?
Right.
And when you ask a lawyer to predict anything, you kind of know what you're getting. So there was a great deal of uncertainty expressed around when anything might be seen of this in terms of impact, acknowledging there will certainly be appeals. It will be a long time before any action is taken. For me, the most interesting part of it was hearing from some of the local school districts who were saying, well, in the meantime, are we shooting
What do we
ourselves in
do?
the foot if we're going out for bonds, if we're
Right.
planning a new school build, things like that? And the guidance was basically just do what you're going to do because there's a great deal of uncertainty about any long-term resolution.
Absolutely.
That's my recap. Jacqueline, anything to?
Well, I really appreciate attending these meetings because I like to interact with other school districts and hear what's going on there too. I do want to note that the attorney, John Bullock, is a CFSD graduate, Manzanito, Orange Grove, and CFHS. So
He was profiled in the CFSD the Foothills Alumni group on social media by Julie Farberick.
yeah, so
Nice.
piggybacking on what Tom said, it was all about, well, what now? Because there's a real fear that if you go out and you get bonds and stuff, that the state will say, well, see, you're doing it anyway. So, but, you know, the legal process moves
Or the
incrementally.
voters will say, why should we approve your bonds
Because
when
you just won your big
You
lawsuit.
just won your big lawsuit, you're gonna have money
Right.
coming, and then will there be reimbursement? I mean,
But the voters have been pretty clear in the state in more than a few elections that they prefer to fund public education.
yes.
So that is encouraging as well.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. It was a nice presentation. It wasn't as well attended, the meeting.
I apologize
These
for
are-
missing it. I never looked at my calendar.
Well, good for you.
Long day.
That sounds good to me. Yeah. It was a good meeting. Thank you. Are there any legislative or governmental activities to speak of this evening? That's item 6.2.
No.
Agenda planning tomorrow is me and Tom. I think we'll be in person, correct?
It will.
At 10 o'clock?
Good.
Perfect. I will entertain a motion to adjourn if no one has anything else to add to tonight's agenda.
I'll move, we adjourn.
Thank you. There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. A motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Motion carries 5-0, and we are adjourned.